guys, I just kind of wanted to put this out there and ask for some serious prayer for myself and my family. Um, if you are seeing this and you are a born again believer, just ask that you would, as you watch this, say a prayer for me, say a prayer for my family members that I mentioned. And if you remember, or the Holy Spirit brings this to mind in upcoming days, I just ask that you would keep it on your mind and pray about it as it crosses your mind. I'm going to share three different things. One is my situation, one's my cousin, and one's my brother. And just kind of a lot of things weighing on the family right now. So my name is John, and I think just for the sake of protecting the privacy of my family members, I'm not necessarily going to share their names. So, as you pray, maybe just pray on behalf of John's brother, John's cousin. If you really would like more details or you have questions about these things, my email address can be found in the About section here on YouTube. And you can feel free to reach out to me at any time for any reason, whatever the subject may be. But I'd be happy to give you what information I can about these situations if you want more information so you can pray more specifically. But I would really appreciate your prayers. There are some situations in life that can't be fixed without serious prayer, and sometimes serious prayer and fasting. And I do think that these situations merit that, and you'll see why as we go along. I tend to go kind of long in my videos. I'll try to keep it relatively short to the best of my ability. Well, anyway, let's start with my brother, because this is something that's been really weighing on me for a while now. So I have a younger brother, 12 years younger than me. We have a close family. I've always gotten along really well with him. We were far enough apart in age that we didn't really have to compete for anything, and he kind of just inherited a lot of my stuff growing up. We do a lot of stuff together, airsoft, knife making, building and designing things with Legos and with other stuff. So I have one sister, and then a couple years younger than me, so a bit closer in age to me, and then my younger brother, 12 years younger, and they're both very special people. My younger brother, though, it's kind of unclear why he started becoming very bitter during his teenage years, specifically against God and against the Christian faith. And we don't really know why. But one thing that I say is that he hit a point in his life where he stopped listening to the right voices in his life and just started listening to all the wrong voices in his life. And that has led him down a destructive path. And because he's not really very forthcoming about some of the things going on, we don't really have a lot of background. When I say we, myself, my family, my parents, my sister, don't really have a lot of understanding as to why things turned out the way they did. But my younger brother, he married very young, married when he was 20, so he wasn't even old enough to drink when he got married. And unfortunately, that marriage ended in divorce for a number of reasons. And after that, my younger brother just kind of was going consistently in the wrong direction. He had a group of friends who were liked to drink hard liquor, kind of a rough crowd, and then as time has gone on, he's just ended up surrounded by more and more rebellious and anti-God people. And so over the years, it's kind of been a progression. He divorced his wife. Now he's questioning his sexuality. And most recently, we have heard that he is intending to transition. He's taking hormones. He wants to change his name. And his life is just going in just an absolutely wrong direction. He's surrounded himself with a group of trans friends who are kind of, I feel like they're probably pulling his strings a bit and puppeteering him. Really, all this started when he was still married and he started seeing a therapist about some things, depression and bitterness. He's been bitter for a very long time against God. And I don't know, I mean, I'm just guessing here because we don't really have a lot of information to go on, but I think that that's probably where the door opened, and some access was given to spiritual powers in his life, and he's really just no longer in his right mind. And it's really sad to see. It's incomprehensible in some ways. He's into stuff that guys are into. He loves guns. He loves airsoft guns. He loves building his own guns, working on motorcycles, dirt bikes, building things, working on his car, playing airsoft, playing video games, action movies. He's a guy. So I just don't understand how things went in the direction that they went. And, we've been praying for him, but it gets to the point where you see things just getting so out of control. He just needs prayer. He's not a believer. He was raised into a Christian family. My sister, myself, my parents, we are born-again believers. And for a while, my younger brother thought he was. But then at some point he told us, no, he wasn't. He thought he was, but he was not. He'd never been born again. And there was a point in time when he went off to a Christian school that they were using a bunch of, let's just say, inferior Bible versions, and they had teachers there who weren't even believers, who were more like Christian philosophers or culturally Christian, but not really Bible believers, who just planted some seeds in his mind. So, he's just gotten to the point where he does not listen to the Christian voices in his life, and he's been magnifying and listening to all the wrong voices, his peers, his anti-God teachers, the advice of this therapist. And really, once he started seeing the therapist, that's the turning point, as far as I can tell, in his life, where his marriage went on the rocks, and now he's questioning his sexuality. Now he's wondering if he should be a woman, and he absolutely was not raised that way, and it's very disheartening to see. It's anyway, I would just appreciate prayer for my brother. I'd also appreciate prayer for my cousin. There's an ongoing situation with her. So she is a woman in her 40s. She has, I believe at this point, 4 kids. She is married. So that side of my family, a lot of born-again believers, and we always thought that she was as well. But for about a year, she's been struggling with demonic possession, actual demonic possession. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment. But she married a guy who's special forces, and they've traveled all over the world, and she's been very isolated. They all have been very isolated from family and so forth. And it's kind of unclear what happened there as well. We just don't have information, and she's not in her right mind, so she's not being very communicative. But it started off, she was hearing voices, and the disturbing thing about this is she was powerless to disobey these voices, and they'd be telling her to do various self-harm type of things, like go outside during a lightning storm. or go break into this house over here. Oh, and by the way, the gate code is such and such a number, or you can find a key under a potted plant on, the front porch or whatever. These voices were putting her in situations where she could be harmed or even killed, telling her to wander around in the middle of the night. And they were giving her information that otherwise there's no way she could have known. So clearly something weird going on here. And then, if you or I heard a voice telling us to do something questionable, we'd question it and hopefully not listen. In her case, whenever this voice told her to do stuff, she had to do it. She was compelled to. So I don't know what's going on there. But the situation has escalated and escalated to the point where now she has episodes where she is outright indwelt and demonically possessed by this thing. To the point that when it speaks through her, she has a different voice, different demeanor. I think this thing even has its own name, just like the literal biblical demons in the Bible. Her kids know it and know, hey, this is not mom, this is something else. This is the thing that's taken her. My aunt and uncle, they're believers. The man she married, Green Beret medic, he claims to be a believer. I don't honestly know. It's a little strange to me that the spouse of a born-again believer, like I said, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I'm not sure. For a while, my aunt and uncle were kind of looking after the kids, and it was my understanding that they were going to homeschool them and kind of raise them in a safer environment because my cousin's not in her right mind. But my cousin's husband is very much opposed to that. Apparently he's quite afraid that without the kids there, she's going to take her own life. And, he'll come home from work one day and she'll be gone. So this is just a really bad situation, and my aunt and uncle have tried to get Christian help for her. Help from pastors, help from people who supposedly have experience, dealing with different types of abuse, with casting out demons, things like that. And there's just been no, I apologize for the lights, the electricity is not, it's just been weird today. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, there's been just no recourse, no progress, and it's a bad situation. And it's especially bad, like I said, my aunt and uncle were prepared to take care of those kids, but their dad didn't want that, so they're living with her still, which is not a good situation. If you're familiar with what these things sometimes do, it's just not a good situation. And so I would pray for her as well. For whatever reason, she's been on my mind a lot lately, and just that verse, that scripture of Jesus saying, this kind doesn't go out without prayer and fasting. And so I've asked people at my church to pray. I know my parents are asking people to pray. I'm praying. My parents are praying. We're going to try to start fasting more regularly and pray for some of these things, and I would just ask for help with that too, as you remember us. It's just it's a terrible situation. And then finally, I would ask for your prayers for me. So I moved here 3 years ago to East Tennessee for a fresh start in life, because I've had a lot of health issues throughout my adult life. There really was only a few years in my mid-20s where I had good health, and I had pretty serious health issues. I'm not really going to talk about that in great detail right now, but suffice it to say, years of treatments, trying to get a diagnosis, finally getting diagnosis of a couple serious conditions, and then years of treatments and flare-ups and treatments and flare-ups. And anyway, when I first moved down here, I had a great job. It didn't pay particularly well, but I liked the work. Unfortunately, the family that owned that business were not great people, and I was not able to continue there. And since then, things have been pretty rocky. I ended up getting another job that paid really well in the the aerospace industry. But then end of last summer, I had a Lyme disease flare-up and hospital stay in a couple different emergency rooms. And it was a frustrating situation. And I'm not sure, I don't think those things were interconnected, but the timing of them happened all at once, and it was just not good. And what happened with the emergency room stuff, I went to one ER, they told me, you need emergency surgery. They sent me to another ER. They told me, well, we're not going to operate on you after all. Well, they did some other stuff instead that, mitigated the situation. And then when I saw my follow-up physician, he was like, well, since you do have a history of this cropping up, they should have just done the surgery for you and saved you the trouble, but now you'd better not go very far from a first world hospital because if this flares up again, you will need emergency surgery. Unfortunately, going to 2 emergency rooms and having them repeat all the same tests, hugely expensive, even though I did have pretty good insurance at the time, fortunately, but it still cost me thousands and thousands of dollars out of pocket and wiped out most of my savings. It was not a good year. And anyway, I took some time off for just health reasons, and so it's been almost a year now that I've been, well, I have done some odds and ends work here and there, but in terms of having a real stable job, it's been a year, and I've been putting in applications, trying to find something, and my life has just completely stagnated, and I don't understand why. At this point, I'm pretty sure I've put in triple-digit numbers of job applications, and I kind of understand the difficulty. I'm in an area that's largely manufacturing type jobs, and I don't have a ton of experience with that. I'm more of a jack of all trades. I have a little bit of experience in a lot of different things because of moving around and living in different places and stuff like that. I'm just having a hard time putting down roots here. And really I just need to find work, something that I can support myself with. And so I've really been wondering, like, why am I hitting this dead end? I've written books before, and so I do have family members telling me that I should write another book, and I do have some ideas for another book, but it's like I'll be honest with you, there's not much money in that. Actually, there's virtually no money in that. I haven't made any profit on the books that I've written and published, and so it's like I can't dedicate time to a project like that without having an income. That's not justifiable. But I have these projects that I really want to do. I have some other skills that are highly developed and I'm extremely good at, and I've had projects in mind that I want to do with these things, and I've wanted to do for years, and I just can't make it work. So I'm really struggling. Like, what's keeping me from having a livelihood, making a living? Is there sin in my life, and I'm being, put on a shelf because of that? I don't think so. I mean, I'm not perfect for sure, but I don't think so. I just don't understand what's going on, and I would just ask that you would pray for me for guidance as to what I'm supposed to be doing next. Am I supposed to be pursuing a job and a career, which I can do, but unfortunately because of my health issues, I don't have a ton of extra energy, so when I'm working, I'm usually in survival mode. I'm just trying to work the job, just stay functional enough to be able to keep working. And I don't have the energy to do extra things on the side. And if, that's not it, and there's something else that I'm meant to be doing, I have to be able to sustain myself and provide for myself while I'm doing whatever that is. And everything is kind of frozen and not moving right now, and it's hugely frustrating. And I mean, the time is not being wasted. I'm reading a ton of stuff. I'm learning all kinds of things. And so my thought was maybe maybe I just need to make some videos on some of the stuff that I'm discovering and get that out there. And maybe that's what's holding me back. Like, I'm not meant to keep the knowledge that I've attained to myself. But, I mean, it's not like my YouTube channel has ever had a huge following or anything like that. So I don't know, that doesn't make a ton of sense to me either. So I'm just kind of wondering what's going on. And it's very frustrating. You know, the biological clock is ticking. I'm not exactly a young man anymore, and there's things I'd like to have in life, but there's a progression there, and some stability is kind of the first step, and that's a stability that I just haven't had in life. So, if you think of me, I'd just appreciate your prayers for myself, for my brother, for my cousin,